Hey, Jay Clark here with part 3 in our Dirt Rider project KX250. Things have been going really good. The bike's got over 30 hours on it now, so we got lots of time on this bike, and she's performing very well. Everything is going good. We've made a few more performance mods, a little bit of suspension mods, some maintenance items, and we're going to take you over all those right now. All right, so one of our biggest goals was to see how well the performance would go on this thing and slowly add performance mods as we went instead of just throwing them all at one time. And a few of the things we've done is we've used a little bit of VP U4.4, good fuel. We mixed that with a little bit of regular premium gas, works really well. Also, we've been bouncing around on the mapping. The stock coupler is green, works very well. We've also been running the white one, a little bit leaner, that worked really well. Had good results with that, back and forth between those two. To get additional power, we found that we actually had the stock box reprogrammed by Tokyo Mods. That worked really well, and that's what we have in there right now. So our biggest performance mod so far is Hot Cam Stage 2 camshafts. And so with camshafts, what you're doing is you're shifting your power. And in this case, we went to Stage 2 because we wanted a little more mid to top end power. Not so much bottom end supercross type power, but more of an outdoor power band, and that's what the Stage 2 cams do. And so far, so good. Works really well, and pretty happy with the power gains we're getting with the Stage 2 cams. Hey, this KX250, the stock suspension's proven to be really good, and I'm a bit larger and vet guy, and my build's a little bit more like RC's than AC's, and it's proven to be really good. I'm real happy with it, stock, and even though we still wanted to mess with it and see if we could make it a little bit better, it's pretty good suspension stock. On the stock forks, they're just a bit stiffer than maybe we'd like. Work really well in most conditions, but on choppy stuff, just a bit stiff. So we backed out the preload on the right side here all the way to 0. And that seemed to help a lot. We've also taken out a little bit of clickers on the compression depending upon the track conditions, and that's helped a lot in the stock form. Okay, so with our stock forks, we wanted to see if we can make them a little bit more plush and compliant. And so Brett Leaf Tuning, he took over. He's been doing suspension for years. Doesn't even have his own stickers, but he's able to go through our forks here and did some good tuning on there and did get them to feel a lot more plush and compliant, and that's what we wanted, retaining the stock spring. The stock shock, it was a bit soft. With the mods we've done, it does feel a lot better with what Brett Leaf has done to the suspension on the shock, a lot better shock action. We also tested a Fox shock just to go at it, and it does seem a little bit better than the stock one. Of course, a large expense there. But that difference is pretty small compared to our modified stock one. One of the other things we did with this bike is, as soon as we got it and it just had a few hours on it, the oil filter screen inside the left engine case can get clogged with debris, but also little bits of silicone from the gasket. So it's a good idea to take that cover off after your first few hours of use. You pull off the ignition cover, you slide out that screen, you can contact clean it off, blow it off, and reinstall it. A bit of work, but long term, if you're going to have your KXF for a long time, it's a good idea to get that done. Okay, the condenser for the electronics and the fuel injection, it's a bit vulnerable right behind the radiator there, just held on by a rubber grommet there. Good idea to zip tie it so it stays in place, no chance of getting damaged or falling off, anything like that. Tie foot pegs are one of the coolest things out there, of course lighter, and the Works Connection ones are actually a bit sharper than stock, a little wider footprint. Just one of my favorite items out there. Been using them for a long time before Works Connection took them on. Good pegs and well proven. Okay, so as far as maintenance items, we've been changing the oil every 2 to 3 hours on this bike. We run long motos. Oil seems to go away pretty quick compared to a Honda with 2 separate compartments. On these bikes with 1 compartment, we've been changing the oil regularly. And in changing the oil regularly, you need to take the skid plate off to change the oil easily. There's 2 bolts at the back of the skid plate. They're 6mm bolts. Those bolts in the aluminum frame can easily get stripped out. In our case, we already went through one, so we just changed the threads and put some threaded inserts. Rocky Mountain has these threaded inserts. You throw those in there, and that seems to take care of the problem. Something I think most guys with KX250s will need to do. Okay, so those are a few of the performance mods we've done, and some of the little bit of maintenance items as well for part 3 of our KX250 project. Looking forward to getting on to part 4, where we actually get to put a big bore kit on this thing and go compare it to our stocker.